Well, hello and welcome. My name is Velma. You can connect with me at velmanolds.com. This is all about your leadership chat. What does that mean? You get to listen in on valuable insights from valuable leaders just like you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And if this is of value to you, please share the nuggets that you're going to take away from all these great leaders. Okay. Please give a big welcome to my special guest and your valuable leader, Claudia-Jean Virga. Claudia, welcome to your leadership chat.
Hi, Velma. Thank you for having me so much. I'm excited to be here with you and everybody who's listening to us today.
Yes, and I'm excited to have you because we have been talking back and forth about getting you on here on the chat, and you're going to share a little bit about what the chat really means, but having you on your leadership chat, and I just thought, wow, what a great opportunity to bring the two together. So this is going to be fun. To kick us off, I'd love for you to tell the listeners just a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay. So a little bit about me. Originally, I'm from New York, and now I reside in Florida. I own two different businesses. The first business is the chat communication system. All right, there's the pun.
Love it.
And I am the creator of the chat communication system, which is a communication methodology. The assessment is 60 seconds or less, and it tells you how you prefer to be communicated with and how to communicate with others in their preferred communication style. So it's a lot of fun. I get to go traveling across the country, working with organizations and having the opportunity to do keynotes and teaching my methodology. And then the second business that I own is CoachClaudia-Jean.com. And that is where I work specifically, mostly with women, but anybody who's up to doing big social change. And I use my TEDx experience as a 2 times TEDx speaker who's crossed over to TED.com. I've been a TEDx curator, and I've coached, oh my goodness, so many people from all over the globe for their TEDx events, and as well as just regular keynotes, or if somebody's shy and they're in a leadership position, but they want to get their message across in an effective way, I work with them too. So I get to do, you know that saying, Velma, right? I'm sure you can relate to this, right? I'm sure you can relate to this. It's not work when you love what you're doing, right? And I'm so grateful that I get to live and work in passion every single day. It's just blows my mind.
Your passion just is just pouring out of you when you even talk about it. I can't imagine being in the room when you do it, because when you just make things come alive through your chat methodology and how you put that in place and engaging. And I've watched some of the testimonials from your clients, so they love you and they have so much fun. And I know anyone that gets to know you, if you have not already, if you don't know Claudia-Jean, when you get to know her, she is a lot of fun. So
oh, thank you. I try to, they say we learn best when we're having fun, yes. Right? And I've always made it I don't know what your personal life mission is, but I'm going to turn this interview on to you in a second. But...
I know, right? I'm getting interviewed. This is it. See what happens.
Yeah, exactly. But my personal life mission is to be transparent, to help myself and others transform, and really telling my stories from an authentic point, being vulnerable. And it really, it creates this magical experience, because as we're facilitating, we're co-creating, right, with the clients that we work with, the clients that we have the honor of serving. And in that co-creation, by me showing, my true self and opening up and being vulnerable, it creates that space for a magical transformation to happen. I just love what I do. What's your mission statement?
Oh, my mission statement. Well, mission statement is, who can I make life better for today? So it's pretty succinct, but it is built around a vision. And my vision is, I want to imagine a world where people know their value, they live their value, and they add value to others every day.
Goosebumps.
No, I know. I didn't even need my piece of paper or anything to read it. I've got it, like it's in my soul now.
Ingrained in you. I love it. I felt it when you were saying it. And I was like, right on. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it took me a while in my leadership journey to really understand and step into who I am And what is my value as a leader? And we tend to try to be somebody else because we want to fit in. I mean, it's just a norm, right? And so what has happened is when you can get to a place where you know who you are and you know your value, so you know what it is that you bring, your gifts and talents, and then you live those values. You're in that environment that helps you grow, that helps you, what you were like, how you were saying, you just, just so passionate about it and have so much fun doing it. Then it's contagious. And then people grab a hold of it and say, I want to live my value. And you're adding value to others every day. You can't go wrong.
You can't. In complete alignment with that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, great. And that's what we're doing with your leadership chat. It's really about adding value to others wherever you are in that season and whenever you're listening to this. So I'd love to start off with my big first question, which everybody wants to know. And that is, I talk about who is a valuable leader in your life. And I describe this valuable leader as someone that has made such a tremendous impact in your life that you would say, Claudia-Jean would not be the woman she is today had it not been for this person. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can I only pick one? And I've had people say that. So, you have a little wiggle room, but, you can give us more than one. But, but who is that valuable leader in your life? And why would you say that?
Thelma, when I was thinking over this, when I was, marinating on this question, because I thought, wow, that's a really difficult question because, I'm up there in age now, and I've had, I know, I used to be an esthetician. That's why I look like I'm 20. But when I think about that question, at first I was like, oh, I'm going to pick this person, and for these reasons, and then I thought, no, I'm going to pick this person, and then I thought, why don't we shake it up a little bit? And normally you would pick somebody who you love and respect, and you made this huge impact. But then there's the leaders in our life that were not so easy.
Yes.
Right. Right. I always tell people we have pleasant and less pleasant experiences. Right. And because words matter. And so I would like to pay tribute to all of the less pleasant leaders that have been along my journey, because although it was less pleasant, each and every one of them has taught me something about myself, something that I could do differently, something that I was settling for less than for, or helping me find my voice, or recognizing that that's a quality that I don't like in a leader. So I don't want to take that into my leadership style. Sure. Or, so those many, many different lessons from those leaders, right? Because we don't always look at them as somebody, for me, let me correct that. I didn't always look at them as somebody who was adding value to me. And as I got more, as I matured, I recognized that those two were leaders, and they might not have been, quote unquote, the best leaders for me, in my opinion, but they did teach me extremely valuable lessons.
Yes.
That have curated the person who's sitting here talking to you today. Right. And I am so grateful.
Yes, no, exactly. And, I love that approach, because I have another guest that I was talking with, and they said the same thing. They said, I'm going to tell you about these valuable leaders that, you would say they've made a tremendous impact. And usually it's in the positive light, and they paid tribute because it was a great opportunity. But just like you, they said, there's been other leaders and they have made a valuable impact, but it's been in a way that was not comfortable. They were stretching me and growing me, but it wasn't the kind of leader that I would want to work for. But yet I could not have probably got the lessons I did if I had not had that experience. So, wow.
Yeah. Well, darn, I thought I was the first person who thought
you
of
are the first person to say it live, just so you know. But, but it's great leaders. You're thinking alike. You're saying that, there's value in both perspectives. Everybody brings value. It's just in how you're going to receive that. And I think it speaks volumes to you because you're at that level where you said, you know, it wasn't comfortable at the time and I didn't like it. And I know I've been there. I've been on the receiving end and I've been on the giving end. Okay. So, you know, hands down. But, you know, when you come to a place where you're more aware of yourself and you're like, that was something I learned there. And they say that pain, I hate pain is a great teacher, but you got to find a lesson, you know.
Absolutely. And one of my coaches used to say, if you can feel it, you can heal it.
Ooh, that's a way of putting it.
Right?
If you can hear it, drop the mic.
I know she's a great coach. We still connect from time to time, you know.
Right.
But yeah, she used to say that all the time. If you can feel it, you can heal it. Celebrate that. And I would be like, oh, that's a great way to reframe.
Yes.
Right. To reframe it.
Yeah, that is a great way. I love that. That's like a little soundbite there. That's awesome. Well, great. I'm so glad you took the approach. What a great way to, you know, weave us into the next question, which is, you know, probably better than most now, what it takes to have a positive impact in someone's life, to be that valuable leader that you say, that's the person that has made such a tremendous impact. And it's so valuable because it was in a positive way. And you also have seen the other side of that, where you said, I've had some leaders that they've made a valuable impact, but it wasn't a valuable experience on the way that how it made me feel. So I want to take that and ask you, so how do you now pay it forward to say that you are a valuable leader in others' lives, and how are you helping them, you know, discover their value?
Wow, that's a mind blower. Even though I knew it was coming, it still blows my mind.
Well, I gave you a week to think about it.
I know you did. And so what I would say is, what I found for me that I feel most supports other people is really being a good listener. And to be curious, and to ask people, you know, what might that look like? How could that look different? And being more like asking them or prompting them on questions to think more for themselves.
Sure.
And there was a time in my life where I felt like everybody else's voice was louder than my own. And then there was so much confusion that I couldn't make decisions really well, because I couldn't hear myself, right? Really what I wanted to do. So I tried to be as quiet as possible. I listen, I ask questions that prompt thinking, and then I encourage them to listen to their own wisdom and to move forward in that direction. I also really try to understand projection, right? I just had a coaching client the other day. I was doing a group coaching for one of my corporate clients, and we were talking about triangulation, you know, office gossip, right?
Right.
And they said, well, what happens if you're talking about somebody because you're concerned about them? And I said, well, are you having the conversation with them? And they said, no. And I said, well, then how is that helping? That's like your electric was turned off and you went to Macy's shoe department to argue about your electric being turned off. There's no value there, right?
Right.
And for them to really take that on. And I said to her, what I said to this person was, you know, when you have a concern for somebody, you go to them directly. If it's a life-threatening situation, then you either let a manager know, or you call an emergency, 911, whatever, or doctor, or whatever the need is for that moment.
Sure.
But what happens is, if we say to somebody, I'm concerned about you, we give them advice, and then they don't take the advice, you have to walk away there. Because otherwise that's projecting what you think is best for them. And they might not agree with that. Right? Because we see a pinhole into people's lives, right? We see this much and there's this much in everybody's lives. And so really making sure that I stay as neutral as possible when I'm working with people, to not self-project, to recognize if I am self-projecting, and really allow them the room to explore and listen to their own inner guidance.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And I love that fact, you know, your approach to the fact we only see like this much into someone's life, whether you're their coach, or not, whether you're, seeing them on social media or wherever, where we tend to seem to get all our news, right? Social media, but you're only seeing like a pin of what their whole life is about. And it's so much more. And so I love the fact that you said, you have to be willing to say, you provide advice, you provide guidance, you provide wisdom, but the decision is really up to the individual. They have the choice, and be okay with what they decide to do.
Yes.
Wow.
In essence, it's about like really holding space for somebody.
Right.
How often do we go out and people want to give us their opinions and they want to tell us what we should be doing? And how nice would it be if somebody just held the space for you to explore and get curious of like,
right.
What do you really want to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's really right for you?
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, love it. Look at you adding value by giving space, just holding the space and allowing people to feel safe enough to make the choices that are right for them, with as much guidance as you can provide. I love it.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Now, this one is going to be really tough. If that one was tough, because you're probably going to say, but I answered it. So you haven't, because I know you got so much more packed inside of you. So we'll unpack all of this if we can in like 20 minutes from her.
Okay.
So my third question is that, and let me set this up for you. We never know when someone is going to listen to this recording. And we never know the season of life someone is going to be in. And so my question for you, Claudia-Jean, is I want to know, what is one big takeaway that you could say, Velma, if I could tell people anything, this is what I would say to them about living a valuable life. What would that big takeaway be?
Oh my goodness, you've already touched on this in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I'm setting
actually. You were setting me up for this because
I help you out.
One of my TED Talks, my TEDx talks is about this. It's about living life authentically.
Mm-hmm.
And you had talked about it earlier. And I think that once I gave myself permission to really embrace who I was, to stop letting everybody else's voices be louder than my own, to really get centered and hear who I am and live in a way that honors and that's in alignment, from the way that I eat, from the friends that I keep, to the books that I read. You talked about, getting all your news from social media. I'm not on social media.
Right. I know.
So I have no news. I'm in the dark. But, I'm only on LinkedIn and the quieter that I got and the more that I could hear myself, I was able to uncover, right, who I really, really am. And when you are living from your authenticity, right, when you're living from your core values and you're speaking your truth, that is the place where I found my peace.
Yeah.
And with that peace comes strength. And you become a stronger person because, at this point in my life, I would say this is the point in my life where I am most in love with me, where I see my value, where I understand when I walk into an organization, what talents and gifts that I bring, and that in the space to co-create, that I'm confident, as you said earlier, right? I'm confident in what I'm delivering. I'm confident in who I am as a person because I'm crystal clear on my values, my self-worth, and who I am at myself. So I say, get quiet and find who you are. You already know, right? We get confused because everybody else starts telling us, right? That all that conditioning from well-meaning people, right? They're well-meaning people. Most people are not out to harm you.
Right.
But getting quiet and figuring out who you really are.
That's awesome advice. Big takeaway, to just pause and reflect on what are your values and what do you really want and who are you at the core. And once you can accept that person, and embrace that person, the whole world is better off because there's no one like you. So you don't try to be somebody else and don't have anyone try to help, mold you into somebody else. Just be who you are and use your DNA fingerprint, to leave a mark on the world.
I love that. Yeah. And, I'm not perfect. I'm quirky. I have my bad days. I can be cranky.
I don't know. Where are they? I intentionally do this show not perfect. Spilling coffee, messing up
Exactly.
my hair, wearing a Nike shirt to remind everyone, not that I'm promoting Nike. I haven't figured out how to get a sponsorship from them, but it's to say, just do it. Whatever it is that you feel about just do it. Oh, I love your birds on your cup.
It's
Oh,
hummingbirds. I knew you would love it because I remember how much of a bird lover you are. So
well,
I intentionally picked this cup for our chat today.
that's right. For most people who don't know about me, I'm a big bird nerd, but wow, what a beautiful cup and a nice surprise. Loving it. That's beautiful. You had me right there.
Oh, well, I'm so glad.
Oh man. Okay, so we know you're not all over social media, but my last question is, I do want, we've only had a short time together, and I know that people listening in are going to say, I want to know more about Claudia-Jean. I want to lean into her. I want to know about her chat methodology. I want to maybe watch her TED Talks. I want you to be able to share how you would open up for others to learn more about you or to learn more about what you do. What's the best way?
Sure, sure. First of all, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can look me up as Claudia-Jean Virga, Virga, on LinkedIn. And another way is you can go to the chatsystem.com, which is my the chat methodology website.
Right.
The chatsystem.com, or you can go to the easier one to remember is coachclaudiajean.com. That's
Right.
easy, right? Coachclaudiajean.com. On both of those websites, there's a way to send me a message and we could schedule a complimentary consultation if you're thinking that maybe I could be of service to you and your team or you personally. So you can do that, or connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to meet new people and hear what they're up to and see how I can be of service.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we're going to put your Claudia-Jean, so coachclaudiajean.com. We're going to put that for sure here in the video itself in production. So folks are on that screen, they could screen capture it and go right there and be able to connect with you there so that it'd be easier. And then from there, I know they can get into LinkedIn, or if you're listening, you can go to LinkedIn and look up Claudia-Jean Virga and you can find her. And if not, go through me, you'll find her, I'm sure. And she'll be glad to connect with you. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, it has been such a pleasure to have you on your leadership chat. I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you for having me. This was a blast. You're a hoot. I adore you from the moment that I met you, and I appreciate all the value that you're bringing into everybody's lives and living your mission and your vision. I really appreciate that.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. All right. That's a wrap. Hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of Your Leadership Chat. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button here and tap that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. I hope too that you'll give us a thumbs up on the video for a like. And then if you feel led, please share the video with those who need to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Your Leadership Chat. Bye for now.